Then the girl in the corner with the scarlet letter. While you're watching, you may think that she doesn't matter, but no one knows you better.
Hey guys, I'm Jubel Loria and I give you the summary of chapter 9, which is transport layer. So in the data network, the internet support the human network by supplying the reliable communication between people. So the single device, people can use multiple applications to email and the web instant message to send message or retrieve information. So the process of the OSI transport layer accept the data from the application layer and prepare it for the addressing at the network layer. So a computer communicates with a receiving computer to design how to break up the data segment and how to make sure that none of the segment get lost and how to verify all the segment arrive. So in the data application is package and it used to communicate with each others and to have the instant messaging and send or receive message. So the role of the transport layer is to establishing for the temporary communication session between two applications and delivering data between them. So an application on the source host, application on the destination host, without regarding to the destination host type, the type of the media over the data must travel and taken by the data and conjunction on a link. Next is the transport layer responsibilities. The tracking individual's conversation is to is the data following between a source application and destination application. So each of these application communicates with one or more application on one or more remote hosts. Its responsibility to maintain the track this multiple conversation. The segmenting data is most network have limitation on the amount of the data that can be included in a single packet. So this service include the encapsulation required on each piece of data. And the identify the application is to must identify the target and to accomplish the transport layer assigns each application an identifier called port number. Next is conversation multiplexing. So this will then prevent other communications from occurring at the same time. It would also make error recovery and transmission of damage of data. So the communication for many different users to be interleaved on the same networks. To identify the segment of the data transport, the layers add header on the containing binary data and the transport layer protocols to perform different functions in the managing communications. Next is the transport layer reliability is to the different application of different transport reliability requirements. So transport protocol specifically how the transport message between host TCP IP provides two transport layer protocols. The TCP user datagram protocol as shown in the figure. The IP uses these transport protocols to enable hosts to communicate and transfer data on the TCP and the UDP. So the TCP is the full-featured transport layer protocol which ensure that all the data arrives at from the destination in the FTTP, HTTP, SMTP, and DNHS. Next is the TCP is the package that are tracked from the source of the destination. And with the TCP, there are three basic operations of the reliability. The numbering track and the segment transmit to the specific host and specific application, acknowledging the received data, retransmitting and acknowledged data after certain period of time. So the UDP is the function provide more robust communication between applications. This is trade-off between the value of reliability and burden it places network resources. And to ensure the reliability for some application could reduce the usefulness of the application and can be determinant. So the UDP provides delivering data segments between appropriate application with very little overhead, and the data checking UDP is known the best effort delivery protocol. So with UDP, mm, there are no transport layer process that inform the sender for successfully delivery. So the sender of the letter is not aware of ability of the receiver to receive the letter, nor is the post office responsible for tracking the letter information. The sender thus arrive the final destination. The right transport layer protocol application is the TCP used as the data protocol application. Developers must choose with transport protocol type of based on the requirements of the application. In other case, an application can tolerate some data loss of the network, but delays transmission are acceptable. So the UDP is pref of the application such as streaming live audio, live video, and voice over IP, VoIP. So, for example, if two segments are live video stream fail to arrive, it creates momentary disruption in stream. So, the UDP is IP telephony streaming live video. Required protocols properties fast, low overhead, does not require acknowledgement, does not resend lost data, delivers data as arrives. In TCP, SMTP, POP, email, HTTP. Required protocol properties, reliable, acknowledge data, resends lost data, delivered data in sequence order. Next is the TCP revealed features and how the track conversations and establishing sessions. A connection-oriented protocol is one of the negotiates and establish permanent connection of session between source and the destination. The reliable delivery is to source send arrives from the destination, possible for the segment to become corrupt or lost completely transmit over the network. The same order delivery may provide multiple routes that can arrive in wrong order by numbering the sequence and the segments. The flow control is that when TCP is over, this resource is overtaxed, it can request the sending application to reduce rate of data flow. Next is the TCP header is records which information it has sent and which information has acknowledged, and it ends when the close with the session terminal. So the encapsulation, the application layer data is source port 16 bits and destination port used to identify the application. The sequence number 32 bits is to data reassembly purposes. Next is acknowledgement number is 32 bits, indicates been received and next by expected from the source. The header length is 4 bits. The data offset indicates the length of the TCP segment header. The received 6 bits reserved for the future. The control bit 6 bits indicate purpose and function of the TCP segment. The window size 16 bits indicates that can be accepted in one time. The checksum 16 bits error checking for the segment header and data. The origin 16 bits indicates the data origin. So the UDP features is the lightweight transport protocol that offers the same data segment that reassembly as TCP but without TCP reliability and flow control. So features of the UDP, data is constructed in order that it is received any segment loss or resent, no session establishment, does not inform the sender about resources ability. Next is the UDP header is one of the most important requirements for delivering live video and voice over the network is that the data continues the flow quickly. Live video tolerates some data loss with minimal or noticeable effects. So these datagrams are sent best effort by the transport layer protocols. Next is the transport by multiple separate conversations. So user expects to be available to receive and send email, instant message, to view the website and voice phone call, and additionally data from the phone calls not direct to web browser and text. The TCP and UDP manage these multiple simulations. This is unique identifiers or support port numbers. Next is the port numbers is the local host. The destination port numbers associated with the destination application or the remote host. The source port is this process allows multiple conversation to occur simultaneously, common for the devices to send multiple HTTP devices. The destination port is the server and the client specific port 8 in the destination port. The server can offer more than one service as services on 80 at the same time. Next, the socket ports. The segment are then encapsulated with IP packet, and the socket is used to identify the server and service being requested by the client. Mm, and the socket enable multiple processes running on the client to distinguish themselves from each other in multiple connection to a servers. So that's all the summary of chapter 9.